The paper trembled slightly in my hands, though I kept my grip steady. A list. Typed, printed, underlined. Rules. This family works best when I'm in charge, my wife's father had said earlier that night, sliding the sheet across the table with the kind of smirk that belonged to a man who'd been obeyed his entire life. I didn't laugh. I didn't even blink. My wife's hand brushed my arm under the table, soft and urgent. "Just go along with it," she whispered, eyes fixed on her plate. "Go along with it." The words had been echoing ever since, carving deep grooves in my skull. By the time I locked myself in my study, the sheet of paper folded in my palm, I already knew what those words meant. They weren't a plea. They were a confession. Something was off. I could feel it in the way her voice cracked when she spoke, the way she wouldn't look at me when he was in the room. A rule book for my marriage, written by another man. It wasn't absurd, it was a warning. And warnings, I've learned, are only given when there's something worth hiding. I watched her carefully in the days that followed. Not openly, never openly. I watched the way her phone tilted slightly away when I entered the room. The way her smile was too quick, too polished, when she answered a message and slid the device face down. I noticed how her father called late at night, always with the same excuse, just checking in. She took those calls in another room, voice low, doors shut. At first I tried to believe it was harmless, a controlling father, a nervous daughter. That's what I told myself. But control isn't harmless, and fear doesn't bloom out of nowhere. The distance between us wasn't created in silence. It was constructed, brick by brick, with secrets I hadn't been invited to share. She touched me differently, distracted, mechanical. And one night when she reached for me, she whispered a name, not mine. It was enough. The realization didn't hit like lightning. It slid in cold, slow, deliberate, like a knife placed gently against the skin. I didn't confront her, not yet. Confrontation is wasteful when truth can be extracted with precision. I began with the phone records. Nothing dramatic, just a quiet call to the provider, a request masked as routine. The logs arrived within days. Patterns emerged. His number, her number, repeated, late hours, midday, hidden in plain sight. Next came the receipts, bank statements, carefully downloaded and printed. A hotel, twice, not local, not far enough to be business. The pieces slid together too neatly. But I needed more than suspicion. I needed proof that left no room for excuses. So I went further. DNA. A strand of her hair caught on the bathroom counter. A toothbrush from her father's guest bathroom, lifted quietly during one of our visits. The lab didn't ask questions. They never do when payment is fast and discreet. Every day I waited. I carried the weight of it in silence. I ate breakfast across from her, nodding at her small talk, my smile smooth, my hands steady. But inside, the silence was a pressure cooker. Every glance, every movement, every kiss on the cheek was dissected, cataloged, fed into the growing dossier in my mind. I became patient, detached, because once truth sharpens in your hand, you don't swing wildly. You cut carefully. The envelope arrived on a Tuesday. I opened it alone, standing by the window, rain tapping against the glass. 2 lines of data, cold, clinical, irrefutable. Her DNA, his DNA. Probability of relation 99.97%. Father and daughter. But the pattern went deeper, too deep. Markers aligned in a way they shouldn't. Parentage skewed, statistics twisted into something grotesque. It wasn't just calls, it wasn't just rules, it was possession. When I looked at her that night across the dinner table, I knew. I knew every word, every smile, every deflection was built on a foundation of rot. She reached for her wineglass, and her hand shook. She knew something too. She could see it in my eyes. I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't need to ask questions. I simply slid the sealed folder across the table, the edges perfectly aligned with her plate. "Here's how this ends," I said, voice calm, detached. Her face drained. She didn't open it. She didn't need to. The silence did the work for me. The family dinner was crowded, voices overlapping, plates clattering. Her father presided at the head, smug as always. I waited. I let them all talk, laugh, eat. I let her squirm in silence beside me, her hands folded tightly in her lap. When the moment came, it was simple. I set the folder on the table, sliding it toward her with the same precision I'd used in every step of this quiet execution. "Here's how this ends," I repeated, my smile calm, almost pleasant. Her fork slipped from her hand. Her father leaned forward, frowning. "What is this?" I didn't answer him. I never looked at him. My eyes stayed on her, always on her. Because revenge isn't about spectacle. It's about choosing the moment they realized the cage door was locked long before they noticed. She opened the folder. She saw the results. The room went silent. Her father's voice faltered, searching for words, but I didn't hear him. I only watched her crumble, pale, trembling, the truth detonating quietly in her chest. I didn't shout. I didn't demand explanations. I stood, buttoned my jacket, and pushed my chair neatly back under the table. Her eyes begged, pleaded, but not for forgiveness, for silence. I gave her neither. The truth was louder than anything I could say. I walked out without looking back, the rain outside swallowing me whole. There's a kind of peace in endings like this, cold, sharp, final. They can keep their rules, their lies, their family. I don't belong to it anymore, and she knows it. That's the punishment, not my anger, my absence.